Ryan Wood joins us. He's the Packers beat writer for USA Today. And Ryan, thank you for the time. I think a lot of the perspective has been from that of Aaron Rodgers. What is Aaron Rodgers going to decide? Instead of what's Green Bay and the organization thinking, as yet again, they're trying to figure out the future at quarterback in an offseason where, I mean, they gave him a big bump last year. What do you think the perspective is from the front office right now?
Well, first of all, guys, I just have to say I'm happy to be sitting in the light, although it's Green Bay in February, so we only see the sun for like 5 minutes at a time, and then it goes away. But no, Aaron Rodgers said multiple times late in the season that it's got to be a mutual decision. And we'd never heard that before. We never heard Aaron Rodgers say, the Packers got to want me back too. And even as late as right after the Detroit Lions loss in the finale, he spent a lot of time talking about, it'd be slightly egotistical of me if I was to think that it's a done deal, that the Packers want me back with Jordan Love, having waited for 3 seasons. So that gives this a different type of feel as far as this offseason, because it is much more than it ever has been. Not just does Aaron Rodgers want to be back wearing the G on his helmet, but do the Packers want him back as well?
Was this always a one-year deal? Do you get that sense that based on the way he treated answering those questions at the end of the season?
Back in July when the season was about to start and he was talking about the extension, he said he definitely thought that he would finish his career with the Packers after signing this past extension. Now, he referred to it as kind of a one plus a one plus another. So he made it very clear at the onset after signing the extension last March that, yes, this is going to be a yearly thing. I mean, it's so eerily reminiscent to the end of the Brett Favre era, where it was year after year, like Groundhog's Day, fitting since, Aaron Rodgers has spent 4 days in darkness, is going to try to see his shadow now. But it's going to be that way whether he's back in Green Bay for 2023 or not. The next offseason is going to be the same thing. So it's been a bit of a decline in certitude that Aaron Rodgers is going to be back, because he said he definitely sees himself finishing his career with the Packers, and now is definitely not saying that. But whatever the case may be, it's a spring and offseason of a certainty every year that he's here from now on.
Ryan Wood with us, Packers beat writer for USA Today. Let's assume that he emerges from the cave or the yurt or the tent and says, I want to stay in Green Bay. Packers are my team. I saw the vision. What would happen at that point if he put the Packers on the spot like that?
We don't know. That's the great mystery. The Packers are being very tight-lipped, as is their way with this. But the murmurs that you do hear, a trade is a very real possibility this offseason. The things that I've heard from people around the organization is that they have a lot of confidence in Jordan Love. Some of this is kind of contradictory, because let's play the scenario out. If they have a lot of confidence in Jordan Love, why not play Jordan Love when Aaron Rodgers broke his thumb on his throwing hand week 5 against the Giants? Or why not, the only thing that thumb needed was rest and to heal. If you have a lot of confidence in Jordan Love, why not trot him out there and see what he can do? With that said, in the 26 snaps that Jordan Love did get last year, he looked like a different quarterback. He was crisp. He was on time. He was accurate. He was athletic in a way that we just hadn't seen in his first 2 years. So you can see, even albeit a very small sample size, that there's some reason to believe that there's upside there. If he's drafted in the first round for a reason. Do the Packers, are they open to trading Aaron Rodgers? Certainly the key word being open, yes. I mean, this is something that they're mulling in their front office. Does that mean they will? That's what we have to see.
What's Aaron Rodgers' relationship like with media in Green Bay with the Packers that covers that team?
It's been just fine over the years. I've never had an issue with Aaron Rodgers. In fact, he's always been very expansive and trying to answer questions thoughtfully. And Wednesdays is when he speaks in Green Bay, and it's always a day that you're going to get some substantive material out of whatever he has to say. Now, the national attention that he gets from time to time, the weekly appearances on Pat McAfee show, that's nothing but Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey. I mean, that is a complete circus, and it can go all over the place at times. But he is a thoughtful guy. There's no question about that. Even if he's not always correct, he's someone that puts a great deal of intention into everything he says and everything he does.
Does media coverage ever affect his play? I asked that because Tiki Barber recently said that he's, too sensitive basically for New York media if he goes there, and what he says is going to get attacked, and that's not going to be a good fit for him. I completely disagree, because I think if you're the quarterback of the Packers, you're covered by everyone nationally anyways. And I know there's more media in New York than Green Bay, but from your dealings with him, do you feel like he's ever affected by media coverage, and does that coverage affect his play in any way? And let's also look at that if he goes to New York, how that would look.
If anything, historically, it's had a very positive effect for him. When he is doubted, when he is counted out, historically, he responds. You make Aaron Rodgers angry, and you don't want to be the team on the schedule playing them the next week. What affects his play more than anything at this point is that he's going into his age 40 season. He's a guy that had 3 different injuries last year. He's had 2 seasons in his career truncated by broken collarbones, 1 on each shoulder. He's an aging quarterback, and the mobility at this point is pretty much gone. I mean, he just had his first season ever with fewer than 100 rushing yards. There was a time that you never would have imagined that Aaron Rodgers would have hit 100 yards. He did it in 17 games. He actually played an extra game this season because last year, of course, he missed a game because of the COVID-19 situation. So at this point, this is not Aaron Rodgers circa 2011. This is a different guy. The media coverage, does that affect it? I think that's ancillary at best. I think what affects it is Father Time, and the fact that Father Time is undefeated.
Ryan Wood, our guest, he covers the Packers for USA Today. What do the parameters of a trade for Aaron Rodgers look like? I'm sure that's been a big discussion point in your coverage and on talk radio like this. And I say that because the parameters, it seems, AFC team, what do they need in return? And how much does Rodgers have in just saying, yeah, I'm going there, trade me here?
I think the AFC team qualifier is really interesting, because if you're trading Aaron Rodgers and starting with Jordan Love in 2023, you're not winning a Super Bowl in 2023. That's off the table. Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Fame, first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback. He was not ready to win a Super Bowl in 2008, his first year starting. So from a priority standpoint for the Packers, it's got to be less about conference and more about what's the best asset value return that you can get. What's the most assets you can get to start this reload and this rebuild that they are going to have to go on with a new starting quarterback, and look at it more from a 2 to 3 year window than what does 2023 look like, because they're not contending with Jordan Love in 2023, even really in the best case scenario. So I find that interesting. With that said, what are the teams you hear from? The Jets, as we know, have contacted the Packers. They're not the only ones. And the other teams that are the favorites to land Aaron Rodgers are the Raiders, the Titans. I mean, we're talking about a lot of AFC teams. If the Raiders sent 2 first-round picks and Darren Waller, Packers would probably jump all over that tomorrow. And a part of that, too, it's not just going to be picks. The Packers are very interested in players and receiving some key pieces that are ready-made for their roster right now to try to accelerate this rebuild. So a best package probably looks like some combination of picks and players.
How much do you think he wants to play with Davante Adams again?
Why wouldn't he? Right? I mean, you saw what the absence of Davante Adams meant in 2022, and how miserable he looked from afar when he was on the field without 17 to throw to all the time. So, they maintain, this is critical. They maintain a very close relationship even after the trade. Aaron Rodgers said that he helped facilitate the trade when Davante Adams reached out. They've posted on their Instagram and their social media. They're still chummy. And on the field, you know exactly what they can do together. So I have no question that he would welcome that situation.
Does that organization hate his appearances on McAfee, or do they not care at this point?
I don't know how you can. And the other thing, that if you're the Packers and you have Aaron Rodgers at a Pro-Am golf tournament, and he's openly flirting with other fan bases while under contract and just soaking in the attention, when you just paid this guy the richest deal in NFL history a year ago to come back and not only that, but internally have ceded so much power to a player. And that's very much against the Packer way. The Packers have always been a dictatorship coming out of that GM spot, which is one of the reasons they've been so successful for a very, very long time. And they've ceded that power to Aaron Rodgers. So all the things that they've done, how does it not make you cringe a little bit with some of the attention seeking that Aaron Rodgers has shown over the years, and especially of late? So, it's they'll never say that. The Packers have been over backwards to say nothing but the right thing with Aaron Rodgers ever since the summer of 2021, when that rift was created between him and the organization, primarily Brian Gutekunst. But no question that internally, I mean, it's got to make you cringe.
Ryan, how legit is the Nathaniel Hackett lure that the Broncos apparently tried last year? Within an hour, the trade was official for Russell Wilson after Rodgers announced he was staying. And then, of course, he's now the offensive coordinator for the New York Jets.
Well, from Aaron Rodgers' standpoint, it's definitely legit, because as much as we know that he'd love to play with Devontae Adams again, Aaron Rodgers was nothing but glowing about Nathaniel Hackett during his few seasons here as offensive coordinator. From the gold zone, which is what Nathaniel Hackett calls the red zone, to his ability to package ideas and game plans creatively in team meetings and offensive meetings. He was a big fan of Nathaniel Hackett. So just like on the surface, there's no question he'd like to be reunited, throwing passes against Devontae Adams. No question that he would have no issue with having Nathaniel Hackett in his headset again.
Do you think there's a wild card team that no one's throwing out there?
There always is, right? I mean, any time there's a situation like this, there's going to be teams that you don't know. And so much of this is who makes sense on paper. I mean, who needs a quarterback, who might be motivated to not only take on Aaron Rodgers, but the circus that can involve Aaron Rodgers from time to time. But the bottom line is that he is a 4-time MVP. And all it takes is one team to think, yeah, last year was bad. It was his worst season, but he's Aaron Rodgers. We can fix Aaron Rodgers. We're the team to do that. It only takes one team to be enticed by that. So no question, there's going to be more teams involved than what we all know of.
Well, and one follow-up on what you just said, is he in the mindset right now to go and fix someone else from a leadership perspective? Because if Aaron Rodgers walks into the Jets locker room, let's say, that's a stand at attention moment for those young teammates of his, that here's a first ballot Hall of Famer coming in. But do you feel like he's in a place where he's going to go somewhere new and want to lead young guys?
Well, that's a big part of this too. It's not just learning potentially a new playbook, but being in a new culture as someone who, entering his age 40 season, is going to be much, much older than many of the teammates that he's around, and being able to immerse himself socially and chemistry-wise with a new group that are in an entirely different age demographic. And that's something that is, just as it was with Brett Favre late in his career with Green Bay, there's been an increasing divide between Aaron Rodgers socially with, he's got his guys, Randall Cobb, Mercedes Lewis, David Bakhtiari. Those are his guys, and they're his guys for a reason, because he has a lot of chemistry and institutional social involvement built up with them, but they're all older too. I mean, the older guys. So that is a fascinating part of that we just don't know.
What does the research for a darkness retreat look like as you try to figure out what he was doing and what all that entails?
Man, I had so many questions. Like, let's just go to the practicality of the matter. Like, how do you not, you're eating, how do you not make a mess on yourself? Use the restroom.
Right.
I have never before in my life, proudly until now, considered how another man wipes. But now, I mean, you're in the dark.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah.
Right? You gotta wonder. So
these are all important
days.
questions.
Potentially 4 days of that too.
Right. Yes. 4 days. Do you use the bath right after you use the restroom, or is that like, there's all kinds of just things that in my career I never thought that I'd even have to consider. And 4 days of darkness, it's not, I don't know where you guys stand on that, but I can't imagine myself being surrounded by nothing but pitch black dark for 4 days. I'm pretty sure that would actually make me go crazy.
I told Chad, I would be like, if he was like, hey, you want to follow along and actually cover me doing this, I would love it. I don't think I would tap out though before he would. Absolutely.
Man, this is so made for the Twitter era too. You just have like
oh yeah.
I guess a cell phone light wouldn't be conducive to pitch black, but just have live tweets hour by hour of what is pitch black like.
Rodgers did describe it to McAfee, saying you're given a chance to acclimate in the light to know where your things are and the bathroom is, and then they shut the lights off, and then you're in the darkness. And I'm thinking, now if I'm in my house, I could navigate pitch black and feel my way out and kind of know where things are.
Yeah.
But you're telling me you're going to give me an hour in a completely strange place to figure out exactly where everything is? I mean, I am walking into everything. I'm just walking straight out with my arms like this everywhere I go, trying not to face plant.
This is where Aaron Rodgers' photographic memory is really, really important. Not, maybe the toilet is like a safety and the bathtub's like a blitzing linebacker, and he just kind of goes into that mode.
Imagine the squinty eyes of Aaron Rodgers as he emerges from this
the light.
Yeah. Wearing a sheet.
Yeah.
Ryan Wood has been
saying
our guest.
Packers was the vision. And I'm coming back.
I'm staying.
I'm not leaving.
Hey.
Is a shadow in a G or is it not in a G? That's the real question.
Yeah, there you go.
What color smoke are we looking for that's going to come out of this house to know what team he's decided on?
Man, you've had a whirlwind of coverage over the last several off seasons with all this. Thank you for the time and the perspective, and I'm sure we'll be catching up as the Packers make up their mind as well as Rodgers.
Absolutely, guys. Anytime.
Yeah, appreciate it. By Ryan Wood is how you can follow Ryan on social. Again, Packers beat writer for USA Today.